Christmas, little fella. We know that you're in there and that you're all alone. Be a good little fella now and open the door.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Greetings and welcome back to the 28 Days of Christmas. Today we'll be getting the new marathon, Return to the Classics. We start off with two of the most classic of modern Christmas films, Home Alone. Not only Home Alone, but also Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. But I'll get to this one later on. Home Alone is essentially one of the best modern stories, and one of the best stories written by John Hughes, with Chris Columbus on the directing board. The story is about a young kid, Kevin McAllister, who feels as if he's being left out of his family. Whether it be wanting pizza or whatever, he always keeps getting the small bit of the bunch of the family. His family accidentally leaves him home on their trip to France, as the mother tries so hard just to get back to Chicago to see that Kevin is alright. Where Kevin is right now is he's stuck in Chicago where two thieves are going to break into his house on December 24th and try to steal his stuff. Now, of course, Kevin McAllister comes prepared and is ready to fight back with his house of traps set up for the burglars for them to trip, and hijinks and slapstick ensue. Essentially, I love this film. It's one of my all-time favorites to watch around the holiday season. I discovered this in 2009, and when I saw it the first time around, it was really, really good. Like, really brilliant to see one of the great writers, John Hughes, who's known for his 80s teen films like 16 Candles, Wet This Club, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, could write such a good movie like this. It's a classic film, and I highly recommend it. The slapstick humor and the traps are absolutely perfect. Plus, it has probably one of my favorite movies within a movie. Of course, some of you may know it as Angels with Filthy Souls, which I actually did a bona fide version of that, which you can actually see on this channel. But overall, I really love the film, and for a prop rating, let's just say I'll give it 5 tarantulas. Next, we jump into the next film that followed up years later with Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. While many people say that it's obviously a rehash of the first Home Alone movie, there are some things that are different with the movie. Obviously, the fact is the story takes place in New York. Pretty understandable. But what happens is that the family this time goes to Florida. And Kevin winds up in New York staying at this big, major hotel with his father's credit card and bundles of money. And of course, the Wet Bandits break out of prison and are trying to steal money from a toy store, Duncan's Toy Chest. Except this time, the thieves are in for a big surprise when they see Kevin out on the streets. That they basically essentially want to try to get rid of him, since this time Harry has the gun. Again, there's like a lot of slapstick humor inside this film, and while it may run longer than the first Home Alone movie, I consider it to be a good film. With a lot of great movies, and another perfect movie within a movie, Angels with Even Filthier Souls, it definitely is the film that's worth watching right after Home Alone. Sometimes you may need a space between the both of them. Surely I have, because I believe it was the second one I saw first, and then, film number 1. This time he uses his uncle and aunt's place in New York as the trap for the bait house for the thieves. Though while some of the slapstick humor is not as perfectly good as in the first film, it still is a interesting concept of what they do. Though it definitely would be funny to see, like, I love the over-the-top reaction to Harry when he has the blowtorch right to his head. But of course he acts like Chuck Norris in this. It's like, His head is on fire, doesn't even know it, turns to the mirror, and he's like, "Ah, ah." I mean, doesn't even do that over-the-top goofy scream like he did in Home Alone. But doesn't shy away from being an actual good film. Prop rating, let's say, 4 Screaming Statue of Liberties. And this is just the beginning of classic movies. Because, actually, let me show you something real quick. Alright, you see there, I have, like, literally a ton of classic specials to go through. So, I guess what I can do is probably review the specials in half of this marathon, and then review the movies in the next marathon. I don't know. The decision has to be made by me or someone else. But hopefully you probably may get used to this predicament I have for classic stories for the majority of these films. So with that said, I'm the Ferbguy, and I'll see you guys next time for a new episode of the 28 Days of Christmas in the marathon Return to the Classics. See you guys tomorrow.